Russell Wilson, just like last offseason, again has given 3 teams he would be willing to join this offseason. And I think we all saw it coming when Russell Wilson was unhappy with a 12-4 record and asked for a trade last year. And when you're 4-8 and your coach has not been able to win with or without you, is a defensive head coach and has the worst defense in the NFL, I would be pretty unhappy also. In fact, I am about this whole situation. Because at this point, when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback in his prime, you expect to be winning Super Bowls, and that is all that Russell Wilson cares about at this point, is his legacy, which he has made clear over and over. If leaving the Hawks increases his chance of winning a Super Bowl, he would be gone in seconds. He has been with this team for 10 years and not gotten the respect that he deserved or has earned from the organization. So we have a lot of ground to cover. What are the teams he's willing to join? Which is the best fit? And is it even a possibility for him to stay in Seattle? So the 3 teams he is reportedly willing to raise his trade clause for is the New York Giants, the Denver Broncos, and the New Orleans Saints. And before anything, could you imagine Russell Wilson on the freaking Broncos? That would be absolutely terrifying. You have Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, Noah Fant, Melvin Gordon, and Javonte Williams, and an actually decent offensive line, which Russell Wilson has never had, and then backed by that defense. But obviously there are 2 other options, and the first one we're going to start with is the Saints. And at first this seems like an unbelievable idea on the surface. With an offensive mastermind like Sean Payton with a top 5 quarterback like Wilson, it could be as dominant as Drew Brees was back in the day. But when you look deeper into the Saints situation, they are over $50 million over the cap, without Russell Wilson's $35 million salary cap, which basically makes it impossible for them to be able to pay him. And on top of that, they do not have the kind of draft capital that both the Giants and Broncos have, which kind of puts them out of the picture. Not that it's impossible, just extremely unlikely, especially when the Saints just paid Taysom Hill $100 million, which leaves the Giants and Broncos. And the Giants have a good defense. They're in a terrible division, have great weapons, but they just have a horrible offensive line. They do have a positive of $5 million in the cap space and have a ton of draft capital, including the projected 6th overall and 7th overall picks in the 2022 NFL draft, which toss in a good player, and that might be enough to get Russell Wilson. The main problem with the New York Giants is they have a terrible offensive line and completely incapable coaches. They basically need to fire their entire coaching staff. So I think Russell Wilson would be pretty hesitant to go there with their coaching struggles, but Golladay, Tony, Ingram, and Barkley would be a heck of an arsenal for Russell Wilson. And their ridiculously high draft picks does make them a pretty likely fit, which brings us to our last, in my opinion, most likely team to trade for Russell Wilson, the Denver Broncos. They have every box check, a very solid roster at just about every position, plenty of high draft picks because of the Von Miller trade when they received the 2 second-round picks. And unlike both the other teams, they have $50 million in cap space to spend willy-nilly. They are currently 6-6 with a game manager at quarterback who has struggled most of the year. They are basically Tampa Bay before Brady. They have been for a few years. They have one of the best rosters in the NFL outside of quarterback. Their coaches, although not great, are not terrible. Plus, I currently live in Colorado and would go to a lot of Bronco games if this happened, so the Broncos have to be the most likely team to trade for him, and just the most equipped. Now, before we talk about if he could stay in Seattle, I would appreciate it if you could smash the like and leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, my position is basically Russ doesn't want to leave Seattle. It's that they refuse to change anything in order to move forward. They should have a top 10 pick in the draft, but they traded away for Jamal Adams, who is not currently helping the team at all, and is not even the best player at his position on the team. Quandre Diggs is on pace for a first-team All-Pro season, and is a complete baller, but is a free agent this coming year. But Jamal Adams is the one that gets the extension. Carlos Dunlap, although having some very big splash plays, is overpaid and at the end of his career. My point is that there are so many signings, trades, and draft choices that the front office, namely Pete Carroll, has completely whiffed on, and the main problem is Pete Carroll really can't be fired. He has all the power in the organization and there's no official owner to step up and get him out. So Russ really does feel like he has his hands tied with one of the worst offensive lines in the league. When your tight end goes on record saying your offensive line sucks, it's very clear it's garbage.
The D-line, they're going to come fast and try to get to Russ. We've struggled in protection and the whole league knows that, so I think that's something that we're going to have to put emphasis on even more.
And Pete Carroll, one of the most stubborn and stuck in the past coaches, who is holding his team back, and on top of that you will have no draft picks. The only good receiver that you have is Tyler Lockett. I'm sorry, but DK Metcalf can't get open. He regularly gets shut down by nobody corners like Kevin freaking King. And the Hawks have absolutely zero run game, which makes Russell Wilson's job considerably harder, especially with the pass rushers in this division. So the only way Russell Wilson stays if they do a clean sweep of every coaching position, hire someone like Kellen Moore or Eric Bieniemy to be their head coach. Otherwise, I don't see Russell Wilson in the Seahawks uniform next year. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys in the next upload.